Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Former Bulacan Assistant District Engineer Brice Hernandez admits he delivered around 1 billion pesos to a supposed aide of Congressman Zaldy Co. This is just one of new revelations uncovered in the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee's latest hearing on the flood control scandal. The probe also delved deeper into the supposed involvement of Senators Jinggoy Estrada and Villanueva, as well as former Senator Bong Revilla. The accused are strongly denying the allegations. Let's get on point with the lawyer of Brice Hernandez, Attorney Raymond Fortun. Attorney Fortun, good to have you. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Hi, Pinky. Good evening, and it's glad to be here.
Okay, when were you assigned, or when did you take the role of lawyer for Brice Hernandez, sir?
Okay, our law firm was engaged as his counsel as soon as the problem started, no? When there was already an accusation of ghost projects, no, dito sa Bulacan. One of my partners, Attorney Ernest Levanza, was the counsel in charge. Now, of course, as being the managing partner of the firm, no, I had at least an overseeing function on what was happening. So, pinababayaan ko lang naman din sila. Saw the first hearing before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. At the time, Senator Marcoleta was still the chairman. No, and of course, Brice was already trying to explain what happened there. I remember that the former DE, Henry Alcantara, was denying everything, accusing that it was Brice who was the one who was at fault. No? And then suddenly, the following day, there was a hearing before the House, and a different tune was being sung. So, tinanong ko talaga sila, Ernest, so ano nangyari? Bakit biglang nagbago yata yung tono? No? And because ako personally, I felt that it was important before I start, to at least to speak on behalf of Brice, that he would be more free and voluntary with whatever the true facts are. I don't want to be considered or be portrayed as somebody who's trying to hide the truth. That's not me. No, I have been known to be outspoken, but I always try to speak the truth as much as as often and probably all the time. No, now. So last weekend, there was a move by Brice to try to gather more evidence in order to prove his allegations, and it was then that the decision was made that a desktop computer which contained a lot of files with regard to the flood control projects was going to be turned over, but there was some hesitancy. Kanino ibibigay, to which entity? Would it be the Senate? Would it be the DOJ? Would it be the Office of the Ombudsman, or to the ICI? So it was then that I was told that Brice really wanted to cooperate, and it was then that I said, okay, I will speak for you.
Let's talk about that. It was the other day, I believe, when Senate President Tito Soto and/or Senator Ping Lacson said that they would unseal some of what was supposed to be inside or part of his computer, Brice Hernandez's computer, and documents. I don't think any of that happened today because it was a Henry Alcantara tell-all plus an affidavit. Number one, sir, nasa na ho ba yung computer and the documents that kinuha po ni Brice Hernandez dahil pinayagan po siya ni Senate President Tito Soto to have I think it was a day pass, because I recall Brice Hernandez asking the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee if they could lift the contempt order so that he can gather evidence, because he was always stopping himself from naming people because sabi niya, ayokong mag-akusa nang wala akong ebidensya.
That's correct. You're absolutely correct. So it happened last Saturday. He was allowed from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so they proceeded to his house in Bulacan, together with the OSAA, the Office of the Sergeant at Arms. During that time, there was at least one box of documents which were turned over to the OSAA. Now, there was the matter now of the desktop computer. Now, sabi naman niya, no, ni Brice, even before then, he had already spoken. He was called to the ICI, and it was discussed the matter of the computer. So somehow Brice had already expressed his desire to give the computer to the ICI because the ICI would be the proper entity to be able to have the experts, no, probably the impetus to have a very quick evaluation of the evidence.
So
Also,
the computer, sorry, sir, is with ICI. The documents, a box of documents is with the OSAA. In other words, the Senate.
so right now, as it stands right now, there's a box of documents that have been turned over to the OSAA, to the Senate. And then with regard to the computer, the decision is already that it will be given to the DOJ tomorrow.
The computer will be
Yes.
turned over to the DOJ tomorrow.
Yes.
Attorney Fortun, ano ho yung laman ng isang box ng documents and what can be discovered in that computer?
To be very candid, I was not present, so I would not know really what it contained. But my understanding it is that it contained the expenses that the Bulacan DPWH District 1 spent during the course of itong operations na ito. No? I really would be able to give you more detail on that once the box is opened by the Senate.
But I'm sure he told you, sir.
That-
What's inside the computer? What forms part of the documents?
Yes. So with regard to the computer, well, there's supposed to be a list of all of the projects that were given by legislators to the Bulacan DPWH District 1, together with the amounts, the location of the projects, and the proponents.
Would that be similar to what Henry Alcantara showed in today's hearing?
Yes, it would be similar, but I would think that there would be more information that would be provided there because when I took a look at the affidavit of Henry Alcantara, it did not provide a complete picture. Kaya nga, even Brice had said and confirmed that yes, whatever the Alcantara had said was true, pero kulang pa.
Yeah, I was gonna go there. Sabi niya, kulang pa. What exactly did he mean by that? Kulang pa sa mga pinangalanan si Brice Hernandez? Kulang pa sa perang pinag-uusapan na isiniwalat ni Henry Alcantara? Ano po yung kulang pa?
Yes, actually, no, pinagalitan na nga din ako ni Brice. No? Sinabi niya na before making any statements, I think it might be better to hold back on making any definitive ones until the computer is unsealed. And Brice is being very careful as well. No? The reason that pumunta sila nung last Saturday is because he did not want to mention any names unless he had evidence. So he would want me as his spokesperson to also do the same. No? He'd want me to hold off or at least to exercise a little bit of caution on making any names like numbers of senators, the personalities involved, until that computer is unsealed so that we can all be very clear as to who are mentioned in the computer.
Right. So basically what you're telling me is, in that computer, once it is looked into, there will be evidence of other politicians who allegedly received kickbacks.
Yes, that's correct.
And you
That's correct.
you don't want to say how many, sir. In deference, of course, doon nga sa naging stand naman ni Brice na ayaw daw niya magsalita hanggang meron siyang ebidensya.
That's correct. No, I mean, he had mentioned to me a number, and I mentioned to it in one particular interview. But he had already, shall we said, asked me to slow down a bit on that because he would want to be very accurate as well. No? As a spokesperson, I will have to defer to him. He says that ito yung naalala ko, pero mas mabuti yung makakasiguro tayo na yung binabanggit natin sa publiko ay yun mismo talaga yung na natin sa computer.
Pero what kind of evidence will they find in that computer that will link politicians?
Okay, definitely the contents are supposed to include the projects and the proponents. That's the thing, no? Kasi right now, if you take a look at the NEP and even in the BICAM report, no, the enrolled bill that was sent to the president, you will not see the names of the legislators who had put, or shall we say, would put in the projects, yung mga tinatawag na proponents,
Yeah.
no, to the projects. So it is my understanding that in this computer would be the full list of all the projects that were made by Bulacan DPWH District 1, the location of these projects, the amounts involved, and also the proponents of these projects.
I see. But the proponents that are going to be indicated in the project, price, and proponent is based on who? Who would you get that name of the proponent and actually input it beside the name of the project, the location of the project, and the proponent?
Okay, very good. Precisely, no. According to Brice, and also now confirmed by Henry Alcantara, the information was supplied by Yusek Bernardo.
Okay.
Yusek Bernardo would be the one to say, "Oh, ito project ito ni XXX."
So and so. All right.
And it is given to, and that information is given to D. Alcantara. D. Alcantara will also need to inform Brice Hernandez and JP Mendoza over here, no, as to who is the one who has an interest in this particular project. Why is that important? Because later on, as it unfolds, no, it is the role of Brice and JP to talk to the contractors and tell them how much they are supposed to collect for purposes of complying with the obligation of the proponent.
We need to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with attorney Raymond Fortun when we return. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Still with us, attorney Raymond Fortun, lawyer of former Bulacan Assistant District Engineer Brice Hernandez. Attorney, to me, I just really wanted to ask you this. Because nag-tell-all na po ito, at least for now, no, itong tinatawag na tell-all ni Henry Alcantara, at nagsalita na rin even way back si Brice Hernandez, wala ho ba silang plano na magsama na? Sila naman yung magkakasama sa engineering district and basically, I guess, sing the same tune?
Well, that's up to the DOJ, no? Kasi right now, well, Brice is not really very happy with the testimony of Engineer Alcantara because in the afternoon session, no, tinuturo pa din ni Henry Alcantara si Brice, no, dun sa ghost projects. And Brice had categorically stated from way back, no, sinabi na niya na August 3 tinatawag kami ni Engineer Alcantara. Confirmed. Inamin ngayon na August 3 meron nga talaga. August 3, if you take a look at it, Brice was saying, pinagalitan kami and then pinapaako sa amin itong mga ghost projects. And Brice has been very consistent. Sabi niya, boss, walang nangyayari dito sa distrito natin na hindi mo alam. Alam mo lahat ng mga pangyayari. So right now, yes, their testimony seem to be consistent simply because Brice was the first one to say them.
So far, that's also the one thing I've noticed, at least in the past hearings that I can remember, that hindi inaako ni Henry Alcantara itong ghost projects. Basically, he was saying that kagagawa nito ni Brice at ni JP Mendoza and the rest. In other words, they did this without his knowledge. That's one of the contradictions I've seen as of late.
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because remember that the ghost projects happened because, more importantly, all the documents will show that technically this project was complete. This project had a certificate of completion. This project had a certificate of acceptance. And for that reason, all the payments have been made. Now, sino yung mag-authorize ng payment? It had to be Engineer Alcantara. So he cannot, no, wash his hands over yung ghost projects na yan. He knew definitely that all of the paperwork insofar as these projects are concerned were fake, because what they were most interested in was the money that was going to not only to the proponent, but also yung paghahati-hatian nila.
Why is Brice still not admitting this license that was supposedly used for his casino days, sabihin na po natin? Because I know that the senators kept pressing on this, and it felt to me as if he was being very technical about it, si Brice po. Kasi nga, parang sinasabi niya, hindi ako ang nag-surrender, hindi ako nagbigay niyan, hindi ako ang gumamit niyan, sila. Kumbaga parang lumalabas, inayos nila yung kanyang membership number para makapag-casino siya.
Well, all that I can say would be that is what Brice is saying. If there's going to be any inconsistency with what he said, ilabas nila yung mga CCTV. Diba? That would be the best evidence on whether or not Brice is telling the truth or not. Kasi pwede naman talaga mangyari yun no? I remember when I was young, when I was a junior associate in this one big law office, that we would play around with the calling cards of our partners. Tapos pag pumunta kami sa isang lugar, ang binibigay namin yung calling card ng partner namin. No? I mean, these things happen. Okay, so if there is indeed proof that Brice Hernandez was in a casino, then the CCTVs will never lie. I have one point on that. Now I remember suddenly. I think in one hearing, Senator Lacson had said that Brice Hernandez was in this particular casino even on September 1, 2025. No? And we confronted Brice about it. Sabi niya, Attorney, teka, September 1? Nag-uusap-usap tayo nun, magkakasama tayo nung araw na yun eh. So, imposible na nasa loob kami ng casino. So, at least that,
Right.
That's already a very specific date na we can actually even test whether that is true or not.
Again, we need to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Another point I wanted to raise, Attorney Raymond Fortun, sorry, wala na po tayong halos oras. Ito pong sinabing money, pera na dinala allegedly kay Zaldy Co, ang halaga ay 1 billion pesos. Laman ng 20 maletas, 20 luggage at 50 billion pesos per luggage inside 6 vans at dinala care of Paul, na tao daw ni Zaldy Co. Did he tell you about this? And is there anything else he wanted to add about this particular issue?
To be candid, that was the first time that I heard about it. He was very candid when he testified on it. 20 maletas at 50 million pesos. I remember during the ERAP time, yung ERAP impeachment, there was an issue about yung mga monies that allegedly
paper bag.
David Singson brought to ERAP, mga 4 boxes daw. Totaling 130 million. So we actually did a reenactment of that, and based on my own experience, yung isang Samsonite na Oyster Perpetual, kaya nga talaga magkasya 40 million pesos. But considering yung numipis na yung ating 1,000 peso bills, so I think the 50 million might be actually pretty accurate.
All right, Attorney. When we're talking about this much money that they deliver, did he tell you how much he made? Si Brice Hernandez, magkano po ang kanyang kinita? How much is he worth because of all these projects?
Hindi namin napapag-usapan. The most that I told him is that one of the things, the price of having to tell all is that he will have to surrender practically everything that he was able to acquire as a result of this illegal enterprise. Sinabi ko sa kanya na aside from having to admit to the sin committed, there must be a penance. And penance requires that there must be a restitution or a surrender to show your remorse about what you have done.
And so far, he surrendered what? 1 or 2 cars?
Well, he surrendered 1 luxury SUV. Now we are doing our best to try to surrender more. No? Dapat nga talaga yung Lamborghini should have been surrendered as of last week. Kaya lang hindi nila mahanap yung susi. No? Kasi when the issue exploded, nataranta din sila. And they now ngayon are in the process of understanding that there must be a return of
Okay.
these vehicles.
Sorry, Attorney, hindi po nila mahanap ang susi? Hindi ho ba
Yeah.
nasa bahay lang yun?
Hindi, kasi medyo, tinago nila yung sasakyan because it was being haunted. So now, pati yung pati yung susi, they may have also misplaced it or giving it to somebody else.
How
So,
many cars is he willing to surrender?
I told them everything that they can
And how
give.
many is that?
Hindi namin napapag-usapan. Ang alam ko lang is a Lamborghini and a Ferrari.
Okay. And money, at least, is there a ballpark by which willing po siyang isurrender?
No idea, but I told them that there must be a return of any monies that he may have right now as a sign of good faith and as a show of remorse for what he had done.
Okay. And has he signed an affidavit?
He is supposed to execute an affidavit tomorrow before the DOJ in the hope that he will be considered for the witness protection program.
All right. So yun din po ang gusto niyang mangyari, no? Mapasok sa witness protection program. Attorney Raymond Fortun, sir, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, Pinky, and good evening.
That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.